What happens when a beloved daytime host faces off against royalty gone rogue? In just 37 seconds, one shocking comment turned a friendly interview into the most explosive exit in talk show history. Jennifer Hudson sat across from Prince Harry on her sunny afternoon stage, her warm smile radiating the kindness that made millions of viewers tune in every single day. The audience clapped politely as Harry settled into the plush purple chair, adjusting his jacket with an air of casual confidence that bordered on arrogance. "Welcome to the show," Jennifer said, her voice full of genuine warmth. "We're so excited to have you here today." Harry nodded, barely making eye contact. "Thanks for having me, I suppose." The audience shifted uncomfortably. Jennifer's smile flickered for just a moment before she recovered with professional grace. She leaned forward, her notes balanced perfectly on her knee. "So, let's talk about your new initiatives and the work you've been doing," Jennifer began, trying to steer toward positive territory. Harry interrupted before she could finish. "You know what, Jennifer? I think we should talk about something more important first." Jennifer's eyebrows raised slightly, but she maintained her composure. "Of course, what would you like to discuss?" "The way the media treats people like me," Harry said, his voice taking on an edge. "The constant scrutiny, the invasion of privacy. You wouldn't understand, obviously." The audience fell silent. Jennifer tilted her head, her expression still kind, but now tinged with confusion. "Well, I think many people in the public eye deal with similar challenges. It's part of what we sign up for in some ways." Harry scoffed, actually scoffed, right there on national television. "Sign up for?" "Jennifer, with all due respect, you chose this life. You auditioned for it. I was born into my situation." Jennifer's smile tightened, but she pressed on like the professional she was. "That's a fair point, but I think we can all relate to having aspects of our lives we didn't choose. Many of our viewers are dealing with circumstances beyond their control every single day." "Are you really comparing regular people's problems to what I go through?" Harry's tone grew sharper, more defensive. "Do regular people have photographers camping outside their homes? Do they have their every word twisted by tabloids?" "Actually," Jennifer said carefully, "many of our viewers face their own serious challenges. Single parents working 3 jobs, families dealing with illness, people fighting just to keep a roof over their heads." Harry waved his hand dismissively. "That's completely different, and you know it." The audience gasped softly. Jennifer sat back in her chair, her warmth now replaced with a quiet strength. "I'm not sure it is different, Harry. Struggle is struggle. Pain is pain. Just because someone's challenges look different from yours doesn't make them less valid." "You're putting words in my mouth," Harry shot back. "I never said their problems weren't valid. I'm saying you can't compare the two situations. The pressure I'm under, the expectations, the constant judgment from people who have no idea what it's like." Jennifer nodded slowly, trying once more to find common ground. "I hear you, and I'm sure the pressure is immense. But part of having a platform, any platform, is understanding that people look up to us. They want to see us acknowledge that we're blessed, that we have opportunities most people dream of." "Blessed?" Harry's voice rose slightly. "You think I'm blessed? Do you know what I've been through? What my family has put me through?" "I'm not dismissing your pain," Jennifer said firmly, but gently. "I'm just saying that maybe there's a way to share your story without diminishing what others are going through." Harry stood up abruptly, his microphone pack nearly pulling loose. "This is exactly the problem. Everyone wants to tell me how I should feel, how I should act, what I should say. I came here for a conversation, not a lecture." Jennifer remained seated, her voice calm. "Harry, I'm not lecturing you. I'm trying to have the very conversation you said you wanted to have." "No," Harry said, pointing at her. "You're doing what everyone does. You're trying to make me feel guilty for having feelings about my own life." The audience sat frozen, unsure whether to react. Jennifer stood up slowly, maintaining her dignity. "That's not what's happening here. I think you're hearing criticism where there isn't any." "I'm hearing exactly what you're saying," Harry countered. "You think because people have quote-unquote real problems, I should just shut up about mine." Jennifer shook her head, her patience clearly being tested, but not breaking. "I never said anything close to that. I said we all have our struggles. I said pain is pain. Those were my exact words." "Your tone says everything," Harry insisted. "The way you're looking at me right now, like I'm some spoiled child who doesn't understand the real world." "Harry," Jennifer said, her voice carrying a weight that commanded attention, "I have been nothing but respectful to you since you walked onto this stage. I welcomed you with open arms. I've listened to everything you've said, and now you're standing here, on my show, in front of my audience, accusing me of things I haven't done." Harry crossed his arms. "I'm just calling it, like I see it." "Then maybe you need to look a little closer," Jennifer replied, her tone still controlled, but firm. "Because what I see is someone who's so wrapped up in his own narrative that he can't hear anyone else's perspective." The audience murmured, some nodding in agreement. Harry's face flushed. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," Jennifer said, standing her ground. "I've tried to meet you where you are. I've validated your feelings. I've been empathetic. But you came on this show with an agenda. And the moment I didn't follow your script, you got defensive." Harry took a step toward her, his voice rising. "You don't get to psychoanalyze me. You don't know me." "You're right. I don't know you personally," Jennifer agreed. "But I know what I'm seeing right now. And what I'm seeing is someone who wants understanding, but refuses to give it." "This is unbelievable," Harry said, shaking his head. "I thought you of all people would get it. I thought you'd understand what it's like to be judged, to be criticized, to have people think they know your story." Jennifer's expression softened, just slightly. "I do understand that, Harry. I really do. I've been there. I've had my share of public scrutiny and private pain. But I also learned that healing doesn't come from constantly reminding everyone how hard you have it. It comes from finding connection, from recognizing our shared humanity." "Don't talk to me about shared humanity," Harry snapped. "You have no idea what I've sacrificed, what I've given up." "And you have no idea what anyone else in this room has sacrificed," Jennifer shot back, her voice rising for the first time. "You're not the only person who's ever suffered. You're not the only person who's ever felt alone or misunderstood or trapped." The audience erupted in applause. Harry looked around, clearly taken aback by the response. His jaw tightened. "So now you're turning them against me," he said, gesturing to the crowd. Jennifer raised her hands. "I'm not turning anyone against anyone. They're reacting to what they're witnessing, just like anyone would." "What they're witnessing is you attacking me," Harry accused. "Harry," Jennifer said, her voice dropping low, "I have not attacked you once. I have challenged you, yes. I've pushed back when you dismissed other people's struggles. But attacking? No. That's not what this is." "Then what is this?" Harry demanded. "This is a conversation," Jennifer said simply. "A real one. The kind where both people get to speak their truth, not just one person demanding everyone else nod along." Harry laughed bitterly. "A real conversation." "Right. A real conversation where you get to act superior because you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever story you tell yourself." The audience gasped again, louder this time. Jennifer's eyes narrowed. "What did you just say?" "You heard me," Harry said, his tone dripping with contempt. "You love playing the humble card, don't you? The girl who made it despite the odds. But let's be honest. You had help too. You had people who believed in you, who gave you chances." "You're absolutely right," Jennifer said, her voice steady despite the provocation. "I did have help. I had people who lifted me up when I was down. I had opportunities that not everyone gets, and I'm grateful for every single one of them. But I also worked, Harry. I showed up. I respected the people who gave me those chances. Oh, here we go, Harry muttered. The work ethic speech. Yes, the work ethic speech, Jennifer said, no longer hiding her frustration. Because that's what you do when people invest in you. You honor it. You don't sit on a talk show and insult your host because she dared to suggest that other people matter too. Harry's face turned red. I never said other people don't matter. Your words say one thing, but your attitude says another, Jennifer countered. Every time I've tried to broaden the conversation, you've shut it down. Every time I've mentioned anyone else's experience, you've acted like it's a personal attack. Because you're using other people to minimize what I'm going through, Harry insisted. No, Jennifer said firmly. I'm using other people's experiences to remind you that you're not alone in suffering. That's not minimizing. That's connecting. But you can't see that because you're so focused on being the victim. The words hung in the air like a bomb. Harry stared at her, his mouth slightly open. Did you just call me a victim? I said you're focused on being one, Jennifer clarified. There's a difference between going through something terrible and making it your entire identity. You have crossed a line, Harry said, his voice shaking with anger. Have I? Jennifer asked, standing tall. Or have I just said what everyone's been thinking but was too polite to say? The audience erupted again, this time with even more enthusiasm. Several people stood up, clapping loudly. Harry looked around the room, his expression shifting from anger to something closer to shock. I don't have to stand here and take this, he said, ripping off his microphone. You're absolutely right, Jennifer agreed. You don't. You're free to leave anytime you want. But before you do, maybe ask yourself why you're so angry right now. Is it because I'm wrong? Or is it because somewhere deep down, you know I'm right? Harry threw his microphone onto the chair. You know what your problem is, Jennifer. You think, because you've made it, because you've got your little talk show and your fans, that gives you the right to judge everyone else. I don't judge you for your struggles, Jennifer said calmly. I judge you for how you treat people while you're going through them. There's a difference. I came here in good faith, Harry said, his voice rising again. I came here to have an honest conversation about real issues, and you ambushed me. Jennifer laughed, a short, incredulous laugh. I ambushed you? Harry, you're the one who started making comparisons. You're the one who dismissed regular people's problems. You're the one who got defensive when I tried to find common ground. Because there is no common ground, Harry shouted. You live in a completely different world than I do. We're standing in the same studio right now, Jennifer pointed out. We're both on television. We both have platforms. We both have people who love us and people who criticize us. Seems like plenty of common ground to me. Harry shook his head violently. You just don't get it. You never will. Then help me get it, Jennifer said, spreading her arms wide. Explain it to me without insulting me or my audience. Make me understand your perspective without tearing everyone else down. Can you do that? Harry stood there, breathing heavily, his hands clenched at his sides. The silence stretched on for what felt like forever. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every second of the tension. I don't owe you an explanation, Harry finally said. You're right, Jennifer agreed. You don't owe me anything. But you came on this show, which means you wanted something from this conversation. What was it, Harry? What did you hope to accomplish today? Harry's expression shifted, confusion mixing with his anger. I wanted people to understand. Understand what? Jennifer pressed gently, her tone softening, just a fraction. That it's not easy, Harry said, his voice dropping. That just because someone has money or status doesn't mean they don't hurt. I agree with you, Jennifer said simply. I've agreed with you this whole time. Money and status don't protect you from pain. They don't make you immune to suffering. I never said they did. Harry blinked, seemingly caught off guard by her agreement. But you... I what? Jennifer asked. I suggested that other people hurt too? That's not the same as saying your pain doesn't matter, Harry. It's just acknowledging reality. It feels like the same thing, Harry said quietly. I know, Jennifer said, her voice genuinely sympathetic now. I know it does. And I'm sorry that it feels that way. But feelings aren't always facts. Harry looked down at the floor. For a moment, it seemed like the anger might deflate, like a real conversation might finally happen. But then he looked back up, and the walls were back up, higher than before. You know what? He said, his voice cold. You're just like everyone else. You pretend to care, you pretend to listen, but really, you just want to tear people down to make yourself feel bigger. The sympathy drained from Jennifer's face. That's not fair, and you know it. Fair? Harry laughed harshly. Nothing about this has been fair. You invited me here under false pretenses. You said you wanted to hear my story, but really, you just wanted to lecture me on national television. Harry, Jennifer said, her patience clearly reaching its limit, I have given you every opportunity to have a real conversation. Every single time you've responded with defensiveness and attacks. At some point, you have to take responsibility for your part in how this went. My part? Harry's voice rose to a near shout. My part? I'm not the one with the home field advantage here. I'm not the one with the audience in my pocket. The audience isn't in anyone's pocket, Jennifer said firmly. They're responding to what they're seeing. And what they're seeing is someone who's more interested in being right than being real. Harry picked up his microphone from the chair and held it up. You want real? Here's real. You're a bully, Jennifer. You hide behind this nice persona, this friendly host character. But underneath it all, you're just someone who enjoys making people feel small. The audience booed. Actual boos rang through the studio. Jennifer held up her hand, quieting them. Let him speak, she said calmly. Harry looked surprised by her gesture, but he continued anyway. You think you're better than me because you came from nothing and made something of yourself. But you know what? I'd rather be born into my situation and be honest about my struggles than pretend I'm some kind of saint who never puts a foot wrong. I have never claimed to be a saint, Jennifer said, her voice steely now. I've made mistakes. I've stumbled. I've said and done things I regret. But what I don't do is blame everyone else when things don't go my way. What I don't do is lash out at people who are trying to help me. You're not trying to help me, Harry spat. You're trying to humiliate me. If you feel humiliated right now, Jennifer said slowly, that's because of your own behavior, not mine. I have treated you with respect from the moment you sat down. You're the one who turned this into a confrontation. Harry threw the microphone down again, this time harder. It hit the stage floor with a loud thud. I'm done with this. I'm done with you. And I'm done with this whole ridiculous circus. Then go, Jennifer said simply. No one's keeping you here. Harry stared at her, seemingly expecting her to back down, to apologize, to beg him to stay. When she did none of those things, his face contorted with rage. You'll regret this, he said, his voice low and threatening. Jennifer didn't flinch. The only thing I regret is not seeing this coming sooner. What's that supposed to mean? Harry demanded. It means, Jennifer said carefully, that I should have known better than to expect a genuine conversation from someone who's spent years blaming everyone else for their problems. The audience gasped. This was the harshest thing Jennifer had said all interview, and everyone knew it. Harry's face turned purple with fury. How dare you, he said, his voice shaking. How dare you judge my life when you know nothing about it? I know what you've chosen to share publicly, Jennifer replied. I know what you've said in interviews, in your book, in your documentary. I know the narrative you've built, and I know that narrative requires you to always be the wronged party, never the one in the wrong. You're twisting everything, Harry shouted. Am I? Jennifer asked. Or am I just holding up a mirror? Harry took several steps toward her, close enough that security began to move. Jennifer held her ground, not backing away an inch. The audience fell completely silent, the tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. You are going to pay for this, Harry said through gritted teeth. Is that a threat? Jennifer asked calmly. Harry seemed to realize how his words sounded. He took a step back, but the damage was done. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Everyone will know how you treated me here today. Good, Jennifer said. I hope they do. I hope everyone sees exactly what happened here, because I have nothing to hide. Harry laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think the cameras captured everything? You think people will see the truth? The cameras have been rolling this entire time, Jennifer said, gesturing to them. Every word, every expression, every moment. So yes, I think people will see exactly what happened. Harry looked at the cameras, as if seeing them for the first time. His bravado seemed to waver for just a second, but then he set his jaw and turned back to Jennifer. You're making a huge mistake, he said. The only mistake I made, Jennifer said, was thinking you actually wanted to grow and heal instead of just wanting everyone to feel sorry for you. That was it. That was the final straw. Harry turned on his heel and stormed toward the exit. But before he could leave, he spun back around one last time. You know what your real problem is, Jennifer, he called out from across the stage. You're so desperate to be liked, to be seen as the good guy, that you can't handle anyone who doesn't fall in line. Well, I don't fall in line, and I never will. I don't need you to fall in line, Jennifer called back. I just need you to be respectful. Apparently, that's too much to ask. Harry made a rude gesture and pushed through the stage door. The sound of it slamming echoed through the studio. For a moment, no one moved. No one spoke. Then, slowly, the audience began to applaud. Jennifer stood there, her chest rising and falling with deep breaths, her professional composure finally cracking, just slightly. She looked at the audience, at the cameras, and a small, sad smile crossed her face. Well, she said, her voice steady despite everything. That was certainly something. The audience laughed, the tension breaking like a dam. Jennifer walked back to her chair and sat down, smoothing her dress with hands that trembled almost imperceptibly. You know, she said, looking directly into the camera, I've been doing this show for a long time. I've interviewed hundreds of people. Some conversations are easy, some are hard, and some are like what you just witnessed. She paused, collecting her thoughts. I believe in having difficult conversations. I believe in pushing back when something doesn't sit right. And I believe in treating people with respect, even when they're not treating you the same way. The audience applauded again. Jennifer held up her hand. But I also believe in knowing when to let someone go. Because you can't force someone to see a perspective they're not ready to see. You can't make someone take accountability if they're not willing. She looked down at her notes, then back up at the camera. I hope Harry finds what he's looking for. I really do. I hope he finds peace and healing and understanding. But I also hope he realizes that those things don't come from constantly fighting against everyone who tries to connect with him. Jennifer stood up, signaling the end of the segment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to lighten the mood with something a little less intense. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your support. The studio lights dimmed slightly as they cut to commercial. Jennifer remained on stage, surrounded by staff and crew members checking on her. She waved them off with a tired smile, assuring them she was fine. But anyone watching could see the toll the exchange had taken. Her shoulders sagged just slightly. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. This wasn't what she had signed up for when she invited Harry onto her show. She had wanted a meaningful conversation, a chance to connect, an opportunity to understand. Instead, she got a masterclass in entitlement and deflection. She got accusations and attacks. She got a guest who was so trapped in his own narrative that he couldn't hear anything that didn't confirm what he already believed. The stage manager gave her a 2-minute warning before they came back from commercial. Jennifer straightened her spine, fixed her smile, and prepared to move forward. Because that's what she did. That's what she always did. She showed up. She did the work. She treated people with dignity, even when they didn't return the favor. And she kept going, no matter what got thrown her way. As the cameras prepared to roll again, Jennifer took one last deep breath. The show must go on. It always did. But this episode, this moment, this explosive confrontation would be one that no one would forget anytime soon. The audience had witnessed something raw and real, something unscripted and unfiltered. They had seen a host defend herself with grace and strength. They had seen a guest unravel under the slightest pushback, and they had seen exactly what happens when someone's carefully constructed victim narrative meets someone who refuses to play along. Jennifer looked out at the faces in the crowd, at the support she saw reflected there, and she knew she had done the right thing. Standing up for yourself, for your values, for your truth, that wasn't being mean. That wasn't being a bully. That was being strong. And in a world that often rewards playing small, that often demands women especially to shrink themselves to make others comfortable, Jennifer had refused. She had held her ground. She had spoken her truth. And she had shown everyone watching that sometimes the most respectful thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's worst behavior. The stage lights brightened. The cameras came back on. And Jennifer Hudson, daytime talk show host, continued with her show, carrying the weight of what had just happened, but refusing to let it break her stride.